The seed of mercy that Catherine Macaulay sowed into the lives of the poor began to spread all across Ireland, England, and eventually the United States.
So a bishop from Pittsburgh, who was Irish, went back over to Ireland looking for sisters who would come over here to work with his people.
Irish immigrants poured into the United States with hopes of escaping the poverty that plagued Ireland. The Sisters of Mercy would play a vital role in the spiritual aid of these Catholic foreigners.
To help the immigrant peoples who were coming to the United States both acclimate to the United States experience and resist at the same time its highly Protestant culture, retain their Catholic faith.
Sister Frances Xavier Ward, along with 5 other sisters, were one of many groups that traveled by boat in their journey to the United States. At the request of Catherine Macaulay, Frances Xavier Ward's first stop was in Pittsburgh.
We have a very interesting history because there were 5 sisters who were brought here by Frances Ward, and they were all under the age of 24. And the oldest was the 24-year-old, and that was Agatha O'Brien.
When the Sisters of Mercy came from Ireland and landed, they came by ship, obviously. They landed in New York. The Bishop of Pittsburgh was there to meet them, but so was this priest from New York who had just been named the Bishop of Chicago, the first Bishop of Chicago. And he put in his bid right away, before they ever even got to Pittsburgh. And Frances Xavier Ward, of course, said, "In time, Father, in time." And they came to Chicago 3 years later.
Perhaps their greatest work and test of faith took place in Chicago. It is in this new city where institutions like the Mercy Hospital and St. Xavier Academy for Women were open to serve the sick and to educate young women.
Great quote from Frances Xavier Ward: "To instruct is an easy matter, but to educate requires ingenuity, energy, and perseverance without limits." And so I think that's what they had. They had ingenuity, energy, and perseverance without limits. And that spirit is what made them leave Ireland, come to the U.S., leave Pittsburgh, come to Chicago, and establish the first hospital in Chicago, establish St. Xavier Academy, establish the first orphanage in Chicago.
She's seeing there are people who need education. She sees that there are people who need shelter, who need food, clothing, what have you. And she and her sisters are trying to be with those people.
These 5 sisters actually turned Chicago upside down in the ways that were needed. We became one of the first congregations that were known as sisters who could go out among the people. In the early days of religious life, sisters were in cloisters, or they just prayed, and they worked for their own upkeep internally, usually with gardens and selling things that they made or grew. And here, the Walking Sisters had a special permission from the Vatican to begin an order that would be among the people.
With the vision of being among the people came great hardships. Raging cholera epidemics sadly shortened the lives of young sisters. Furthermore, the Great Chicago Fire in the summer of 1871 completely destroyed St. Xavier Academy.
The building was destroyed, but no one was injured or killed in that, which was the biggest blessing of all, that the sisters were most grateful for, that no one was hurt. And so they had to start all over again, and that's what was the first reason for the move to 49th and Cottage Grove.
In the wake of the fire, the sisters moved St. Xavier Academy from Wabash Avenue to 49th and Cottage Grove, setting the stage for St. Xavier College.